Welcome to I Love You So Much. My name is Reed Fish. I'm here with my good friend Tyler
Lubin. Beat you this time.
Oh, you did? Yeah, you were working on that. Good
I was
job.
waiting.
Is that in case he forgets?
Well, he always introduces me, and I'm like, he doesn't leave any room in there. But today,
no. Well, I like talking, so it's fine. Well, we're two divorced dads getting better. Tyler, so part of getting better is maybe confessing to some things that we've done. Is there anything this week that you're not so proud of?
Yes, every week. Round and round we go. My confession, I put everything on my phone this week because I feel very
God,
fried.
I got a confession. I got so many confessions. Let's do this.
Yeah. See, okay, you're getting into the spirit of the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so my confession is more along the lines of like re-emerging patterns, ones that I recognize. I brought Stella a Red Bull today. I also had a Red Bull
Stella.
In the car. Our producer, Stella. Yeah, we wanted to introduce this disembodied voice over here. I drank a white peach Red Bull, which is just delectable. Red Bull, hey, you've outdone yourself. Send us some. And I drank one in the car, and I've been noticing the last couple weeks, maybe even months, it's basically like waking up and having a fucking martini. Like I get up and I'm like, I'm gonna get all like giddy and excited to go and drink this fucking this stimulant. And when I don't have it, I feel very cranky. It feels very dry, drunky. Like I get sort of like, I start getting like angry at people, and my kids are bothering me a little bit. And I didn't recognize it until like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh my God, it's just like anything that you get addicted to.
Right.
And it's starting to become a problem. And I don't even, here's where it gets really interesting. I don't even really love the way it makes me feel. Like I drank one on the way here this morning and my hands are shaking. I'm like, why did I do that? I know that that's what's going to happen, but I still drink it because I have this little gremlin in my head that goes, but maybe this time.
Yeah.
Maybe this time it'll be like those, those two other times when it actually felt good. Or that one other time.
First time.
Yeah, the first time chasing the fucking dragon with Red Bull.
Right.
I'm chasing the bull. So my confession is just that I think some of my alcoholism is on clear display, and I'm totally avoiding calling it what it is. So I thought I would take this opportunity here today to be like, okay, I need to go back into my steps maybe and think about doing some work around stimulants and the bulls that are red.
Well, I feel like mine is a little paltry compared to that. Well, not really, because this is a problem in my life. And it's logistically, sometimes I have a problem being a full functioning adult in the ways of like, I often have little tasks that I need to do, whatever, to pay a bill or, run a certain errand or something. And then I just procrastinate on it so much that then it doesn't end up happening and it causes problems, right? It's like, I do pay my bills. I have good credit. It's all fine. But it's just like, it's just this part of me that there's a simple thing and I know I need to do it. And I know if I do it right now, it'll take 30 seconds or 5 minutes. And yet I still don't do it. And then it's lodged in my brain and I think about it and I think about it and I think about it. And then it's almost too late. And then you do it and you're like, oh, that was so easy. Why did I do it?
Do you pile responsibilities?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. So I have one specifically that illustrates it and I'm confessing it right now because we have our guest, Devon Sawa, here. One confession is I don't think I've ever seen, well, SLC Punk I've seen, but I was looking movies that Devon Sawa's been in. I hadn't seen any. And I was like, I'm going to watch Final Destination. I'm going to research our guest. So I'm going to watch Final Destination.
Didn't do it.
Because when that came out, I was just the wrong age. I think I was 26 and into art films. And so I never saw it.
It's pretty artsy.
Really? Thank you. That's amazing.
And it would be such an easy thing to do, and I didn't do it. And I don't feel bad, but I feel like it's just one of those, come on, Reed. You're better than that. You can watch a freaking movie.
With the flogging, right? And you're
so that's my confession.
Good one.
Devon, how about you, man?
Good. I don't know whether I have a confession, but just, it's fresh, so I'll talk about it. I went to a Dodgers game a couple nights ago. I was with my son, and the people around me were getting really inebriated, and one particular guy was kind of, egging me on a little bit, and it's the first time that I had to really focus as a father and not react to him and step away from the situation, and this is the first time that I ever kind of dealt with that before with my son. It's like, what I mean? The old me would have been, I would have said something. There might have been some words, who knows? But I really had to, to change my ways and step away. And
how did it feel after it ebbed?
It felt a lot like I did the right thing,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
I
yeah.
showed my son that was the,
Yeah.
it's the right thing to do sometimes.
It is
you
the
know?
right thing to do. 95% of it. There is the 5%.
There is
where
a- there
that
is a
guy needs
time-
knuckle
yeah.
sandwich, you know?
Yeah,
Where
but
that-
if my son wasn't there, maybe he would have got. I don't know. Maybe he would have.
Yeah.
I don't know about a knuckle sandwich. Maybe I would have, said something. But
Yeah,
I
a
think that the-
verbal knuckle sandwich.
Did he know who you were, or was just like random drunk
I-
guy? Yeah.
Just a drunk guy that was looking for. He wasn't into the game anymore. He was
Yeah.
now into
Yeah.
creating
He wanted
some
to
sort
start
of
a fight.
chaos.
I hate
those-
that shit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are at Dodger Stadium a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
The guys that just
That's relatable, man. Like my confession last week, I think was about. It often is about me getting a little ragey.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
When it's like it feels like
Well,
justifiable.
that was my first
rage,
thing.
you
Was
know?
like this, and he kept, and
Yeah.
he knew that he was annoying me, so he started during the 7-inch stretch where we sing that song. He started, "Let's go, dog," and right in my
Oh,
ear,
man.
and
Yeah,
it was just
like,
like,
so
and I
base.
wasn't reacting with it. So the more I didn't react, the more he just
Yeah.
tried
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
the reaction.
He
and,
saw that he could get you.
and eventually
Who
he
he
got
fought anyway.
yeah, and eventually he got too drunk that him and his buddy left and went somewhere else
Yeah,
and
go
never
puke somewhere
returned.
else.
But it was a real kind of
Yeah, I don't know. Why do we have to do that? Like, guys, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's
The egging on, you mean?
getting super drunk, but that just is such a guy thing to do, And
Yeah.
it's like, and as we talk about toxic masculinity on this show,
Yeah.
kind of thematically sometimes, and that's almost the toxic stuff that I don't think we've ever really considered in the same way, because we're talking about relationship patterns and all that kind of stuff, but there is just that overt boorishness,
The reactivity, yeah.
yeah. Well, on both sides, right? You get the drunk guy, and then
Yeah.
you get the guys, "Yo, fuck you, man. You want to fuck me up," and then
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
fight in the parking lot,
And it's all, really at the heart of it. It's all over a sports team.
yeah.
You have this like proprietary feel over it. Like you have nothing
Right.
to do with the Dodgers.
Well, the
unless
thing
you're
is,
part
we
owner
were
of the-
both rooting for the Dodgers.
Right.
It's like, what are we doing here, pal? Like, why are we doing
Yeah,
this? But I don't think he really had any, like, it wasn't about that anymore. It was
no.
about, like, I'm bored and now I'm going to,
pick
I'm
a
with
fight
my
with you.
buddy and we're going to one up each other. And
Yeah. I did see. This is the only time I saw this. I was at a Paul McCartney concert in Vancouver.
okay.
Yeah. People get rowdy at PMC concerts, man.
Right? Paul
Yeah,
McCartney,
PMC
rowdy.
brings out the worst in people. And two drunk, middle-aged women got into a fist fight right in front of me.
Wow.
It was because the one woman was singing a little too loud,
Right.
and the other one was like, "Sit down!" And
That's
they were both
understandable.
like really drunk, and the other one just turned around and started singing in her face, right? Like right in her face. And she sat there for so long. And they're probably like 55, 60-year-old women. She just went poof and just popped her in the nose. And I was like, oh shit. And everyone around us was like, oh my God. And it just like this full scrap popped off right in front of us. And security came, only kicked out the woman who was singing in the woman's face.
Right.
Not the woman who punched her.
Well,
and
that's
then that woman
understandable.
continued to get even more inebriated and was like, and then starting to kind of piss everyone off around her.
Right.
I think she felt emboldened. Like she's like, say something.
Yeah.
You saw what happened. I'll punch you right in the fucking.
But I feel like
kisser.
that's a punchable offense. Too much
Singing too loud?
too much
Oh, no, but like turn around and sing in
I
her
went to a
face.
Lady Gaga concert,
Yeah.
and like I knew I was too old to be there when people were dancing in my bubble.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
exactly.
Like,
No, that's
you
what I'm
are
talking
in
about,
my
bubble, man.
zone
No,
right now.
Yeah, you have the people dancing and the singing loud, or the worst is like the talking.
Yeah.
I'm here to listen to the music. You're here to fucking have a conversation that you have to shout. To have to, I don't know.
Gaga is a
I'm
lyricist, man, I'll tell you what.
When I'm on a show, I want to experience the show, what the show is, and the audience is like. It
I
can be
think-
great, but man, I'm so picky about who I need to be next to at a concert.
Well, you don't have a choice most of the time unless you
I-
have
I know,
exorbitant amounts of
yeah,
money and you can buy yourself a bubble.
I know.
But the punchable element of that was not the singing too loud. It was the turning around and then amplifying and singing right in her face. And like,
Yeah, well, of
I
course,
was
yeah.
waiting. I was sitting there waiting for her to punch her, and she did it, and it was so satisfying. I was like, yeah, punch her again.
This is much better than the concert.
yeah, exactly. And we were up in the nosebleeds. Like I was like, yeah, Paul. And I was like, no, this is fucking entertainment.
It wasn't really a confession. It was just so fresh that happened. I
Yeah.
needed to tell someone.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like your story.
Well, that's like a
But,
pride.
you
That's
know.
a proud moment. I feel. like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
confess that
Yeah.
too, and also
Yeah.
like that feeling of like that unfamiliarity of like, who am I now? How does the current Devon deal with this
Yeah.
kind of anger and this kind of like, someone's provoking you.
Yeah.
He was poking the bear.
He was trying.
Yeah,
he was
man.
trying.
And you stayed calm. I'm proud of you,
Did.
man. Okay, that's
One,
our confession.
one quick question for all three of you.
Yeah.
Physical fights.
Oh.
How many? How bad?
so
I don't read. My question is, have you ever been in one?
Well, yeah. So
yeah,
these two guys, you're like, well, when was the most fucked up fight you got in? Reed, have you ever hit someone? So, I don't.
you?
I mean, I fought with my brother all the time when we were kids, but outside of like a real adult, like, I don't think so. No, I cannot remember ever having an actual physical altercation. I did boxing for a little while, but that's obviously not.
Yeah, that
anger. It's not anger based. Well, maybe it is, but no, I've not. Like, I'm decently mild mannered. I can be caustic with my wit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can throw bars.
Rape your wit.
Yeah,
You can. I think we all kind of guessed that, right? the Reed maybe had not been in a fight. Yeah, but that's okay.
I guess how many have the two of you been in then?
Yeah.
Well, go for it, Devon. I don't know if you.
I'm from like a hockey town where fighting was kind of just normal. It was you would duke it out and then after hug it out after.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of those. I think the last time that I was in an actual public fight probably was sometime in the 90s, back as a teenager. Nothing in my adulthood, luckily. But yeah, North Burnaby, it was like you would, that was just normal.
Yeah, I grew up in Maple Ridge, which was like a little Hell's Angels town, and just all my friends' dads were HA, and like we just fought.
Yeah.
And when I moved there from Toronto to this little town, everybody there just wanted to punch me. Everybody just wanted. It was like a way to like get to know me. I figured out later, like they'd be like, "We're gonna go out back to the school and fight," and I'd be like, "Great!" And I go out there
in Toronto.
No, this is in Vancouver, in Maple
Vancouver's
Ridge.
more.
Yeah, and then I would think like, "Oh God, I made another enemy." I remember this one dude. He was the first guy that just like, we were in a gym class and we were doing like wrestling that day, and he just took it way too far, and then met me later and just punched me in the face. And then we got into this fight and we scrapped each other and people were like gathered around, and it was the whole like high school fighting experience.
Yeah.
He won. Like, I've fought a lot. I wouldn't say I'm a good fighter, but I've fought a ton. I'm just a mouthpiece. I like to mouth off. Then I saw him waiting for me outside my science classroom. I was like, fucking here, man.
Yeah.
It's going to fuck me up again. And then I came out and he was like, "You want to go see a movie?"
Good fight, dude.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, yeah." And then we
That's
became
so
really, really
Vancouver.
close, dude. And that happened like 6 more times.
Yeah.
Like, some of my best friends became my best friends because we fought. And then like bonded. Like, after you've punched someone in the face and they punched you in the face, there's a thing there.
Yeah.
There's like there's a bond that forms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're boys now.
Yeah. And also, like, I don't know how many times you've punched someone in the face. Like, if you happen to make eye contact with someone when you're punching them in the face, or if the same thing happens when they're punching you, there's like an imprint. Something happens there where you're like, I can never not remember the look in someone's eyes when I punch them.
All my
Guy's
fights were
nodding
a
his head
lot
like
like a hockey fight.
Yeah.
Grab the shirt, and it was this until one guy
Yeah.
couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And then it was.
I learned that very quick about Vancouver. Actually, coming from Toronto, we had the Blue Jays, which was like a horseshit team until they were like the best team in the world. And I grew up with the Maple Leafs, which was like the winningest franchise in NHL history, but hadn't won a cup since like 63 or something, right? So I had these two horrible teams that I couldn't take any pride in coming from Toronto. And then I moved to Vancouver and everyone was just like Canucks. It's like Canucks all the way.
Right.
But I had decided to be a Maple Leafs fan. Whew.
Yeah.
That caused some real problems that I did not anticipate in Vancouver.
Right.
And I remember one of the first parties I went to was people were watching a Canucks game, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like the Canucks. I go Leafs." I got thrown down the stairs and someone broke my pinky toe.
Yeah. Vancouver's very serious about their hockey.
Yeah.
It's like they had the term like, win or lose, shit will burn.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's the
exactly,
way it
man. Like,
goes.
they just like to
win the
burn
cup,
shit down.
we're burning shit.
Yeah.
Lose the cup, we're burning shit.
Yeah, Vancouver is
It's a weird town.
Weird town. It's like a bunch of pot smoking sons of fishermen.
Yeah.
But hockey brings out the
All my family were longshoremen.
right.
All of them. Like, get both sides of the family.
This is
All
what I'm
along.
saying, right?
That's what, if I didn't find acting, I would be on the docks.
longshoreman, yeah.
I'd be a longshoreman.
Yeah.
You guys have known each other a long time, right? Like,
Yeah.
where did you meet?
We did a movie called Robin of Locksley in like 94, I want to
I
say.
think so. Yeah, you were like 15. I was 16, I think.
We were young on that, yeah.
Oh my God, babies.
And
With Josh Jackson, Sarah Chalk.
Yeah.
It was like a James Shavik, Larry
it was
Sugar
a
production.
family movie.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We were stealing money by computers, right?
Yeah.
We were
It was
giving-
a modern reimagining
Yes.
of Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah, there you were telling
Look at
me.
those,
We were
look at
computer
those
hackers.
kids.
We both smoked cigarettes during that movie. Look at us.
Yeah. Can you imagine if I saw either of
Yeah,
those kids
exactly.
smoking? So did Billy, by the way. I would fucking smack that thing out of their face.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, we did more than smoke cigarettes
Yeah,
back then.
well, It's a family-friendly podcast, isn't it?
No. We're talking about all this
no,
stuff, man.
no.
If you're
Yes.
comfortable with it.
We're on our way.
Yes. I mean, that was a for me, that movie was like a big deal at the time. You had sort of blown up from Casper.
Yeah. And
You had the
Casper and
Nerf
Little
commercial
Giants
franchise.
And,
But you were like on your way.
yeah.
Little Giants, that's right. And then this was like a big leading role in like a smaller Canadian film, but like kind of a big deal at the time. And I remember just being like, holy shit. I'm like watching you like about to blow up. And you did. You literally right after that pretty much kind of blew up, right? Like that was like
It was, yeah, I think I went and did Now and Then after that, and then Wild America, and then after that was Idle Hands and Final Destination.
Crazy though. It was weird seeing you like as kids. That was the closest I'd gotten to like someone on the precipice of being a huge star.
Yeah.
You know, and the energy around that was
Did you do
real.
The Odyssey?
Yeah.
So you Ryan
Anybody
Reynolds
who's
was on-
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
That Ryan Reynolds guy went off to do some things.
Yeah.
after?
Like everybody. Same with X-Files. If you didn't show up on the X-Files or the Odyssey, you were bullshit.
I never went to X-Files.
You didn't?
No, I never went to X-Files. I never did. My very first job was 21 Jump Street, the original.
Right, because that was
Very
a
first.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Peter DeLuise.
Yeah.
love
Johnny
that guy.
Depp was there.
I know. Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But like Peter is the Vancouver connection.
Of course.
Yeah. It is a funny thing for me, the memory of like seeing you at 15, 16, knowing that you were about to like be a star, and the energy around that was palpable. Like it was not because you had an ego or anything about it, but because it was like everybody was like, this guy's about to become a thing. You know, he's about to be a big thing. What does that feel like when you're like 15 years old? Did you know it at the time?
I didn't.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People talk like those. For instance, those teen magazines that I was all over. They weren't as big in not in North Burnaby. Right. No one had those. They didn't have them on their lockers. It wasn't a thing. So all that was kind of there was no internet, so you couldn't get a feel for what was going on down in America. But I didn't know how popular I was getting in that kind of world.
Yeah.
I was oblivious to that all. I would do the movie, it would be 2 months of a year or 4 months of the year, and I would go back to public school,
right,
and just jump right back in, and nobody knew a thing really.
Yeah, I had that same experience, not on the same level, but that experience of like going and doing like the X-Files or doing whatever, and then coming back to high school and having my high school drama teacher be like, "You need to come."
I failed high school drama in grade 11.
Mine tried to fail me. She's like, "What are you gonna do?"
It was an attendance thing,
right? Oh yeah.
I
was doing like the high school play, and my teacher was like, "You need to pick one." I was like, "Well, then I picked going to do this movie."
Yeah, I had a basketball coach say the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Either you're going to play basketball, or you're going to go off and do your film thing.
Like I'm going to go do.
And I was like, all 5'2" of me was like, I'm going to go do the film thing.
Yeah, not a baller, not a baller. When did you move to LA? First of all, when did you finally make?
I turned 18, and I was
18.
I was on the bus, man. I was down. I was at the Oakwood.
Yeah, the Oakwood. Man.
We went out to buy furniture and came home with 2 big speakers instead.
Yeah, man. Of course,
and that was as soon as I turned 18.
Yeah. Did you come because you had something lined up for you, or did you come looking?
Yeah,
you did. Yeah.
I had a green card and I had an American agent. I had a friend who I did a movie with when I was 14 or 15 who called me around my 18th birthday, because we had made a pact back when we were kids that as soon as we turned 18 we moved to LA together.
Right.
So he called me. He had been down there he was a year older than me, so he'd been down there for a year, and he's like, come down, move down here. I was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. So at what point do you feel like you did recognize, like, oh shit, this is like, I'm on a fucking rocket ship here, man? Did you ever feel it? Like I've talked to a few of my friends who
Yeah, it was very quick. It was during shooting Wild America, before I had moved down to LA. Yeah. I had gone, me and Jonathan Taylor Thomas went to do a press junket in London. And we went out to the cars, and it was almost like a mini Beatles incident where there was girls banging on the windows, and it was the first time I was like, holy, and like it might have been a little bit more Jonathan at the time, but like I felt,
but you were there, man.
We felt it, and I was on all these magazines, and they were really pushing this movie as a me and Jonathan and Team Beat, and we were doing a million of those photo shoots. But then really quickly, I didn't want to do it anymore. Right. I didn't want to be the kid holding the puppy, and that I did. So I started to pick things that were, drug related, like the SLC Punks, and the Idle Hands, and the Stand video. I wanted to get as far away from that kind of
because it was like too clean cut.
I was not from an area that would really be into those teen magazines, and I wanted to be darker and edgier and do, you see DiCaprio doing Basketball Diaries, and you wanted to, and he was a few years older than me, so you wanted to kind of go that way.
Well, and you're a good actor, man. Like I've always thought you were a really great actor. Yeah, of course,
as you are too.
Thank you. But I always thought you were a really fantastic performer. So obviously, at a certain point, you want to go do the challenging shit.
Yeah.
But I want to bring it back to the blow up moment of fame, because I'm always curious. Like on a certain level, I had a show called Breaker High in Canada with me and Gosling, and like it blew up in Canada. Like people would follow me to my car, and like I would be like mobbed, and like I remember being in West Edmonton Mall, and security had to lead me out with like a jacket over my head. It was insane. Wow. It was like kids were like rushing me, and that wasn't anywhere near the level of fame that you had. It fucked me up, man. It did something to me. And I always wonder, like, do you think you got out unscathed from like being that famous, or what?
No,
like, what?
Definitely not.
What kind of damage did that do to you?
You know, I was okay. I did Idle Hands. Idle Hands was probably the last movie I did. Okay. And then I was introduced to the Los Angeles club scene just as I was, Final Destination was coming out. I was in a video that was playing on repeat on MTV over and over again. And all of a sudden, that's when I was introduced to the Los Angeles club scene. And you get in this scene where everybody wants to buy you a drink and other stuff, and that's kind of when it just went all crazy.
Well, like that kind of I always think about that kind of access. Yeah, you had kind of unlimited access.
Well, that's when it started to get less important about what I was doing, with the thing that I loved before, and more important about, we're going to the Playboy Mansion, we're going to the Sky Bar, we're going to, we're going to go to New York, and we're going to go to Vegas, not even sleep for 4 days. It was all, that was the time. It was like during.
Yeah. Did that just sort of lend itself to a Devon that already kind of existed, or did it? Was that sort of like the birth? Of this kind of
I was always going to become an addict or an alcoholic. I think that, believe it or not, I think the film business through my teens was kind of my safe place. Like I would go off and do the Now and Thens and the Wild Americas, and it would just be these really great people surrounded by really phenomenal humans, luckily, and it would be my safe place. Now I go back to Burnaby where all the chaos was. And so it was eventually going to happen, and it wasn't till early 20s where it's just, LA club scene and just
handed to you.
It's like, let's go nuts for, and then I did it for four dark, crazy years of, but it was fun for a few, and then it was not fun at all.
It's like the Red Bulls, man.
But only 4 though. I mean, that I feel like that's like
4 or 5.
So
really crazy.
So when did you? So you did go on a sober journey. When was that then?
So at around 22-ish. 23-ish, I was burnt out in Hollywood and kind of went back and decided I was going to try something different.
Didn't you start a construction company with like?
No, he did.
Oh, I thought you worked together with him. Yeah.
No, I bought a few buildings I bought a couple of buildings.
Right. That's right.
One in Gastown and one in North Van, and they did some work on them.
Yeah.
But that's what I was going to do. I was going to be in the real estate business. And I realized that I got a script snail mail for Max Payne with Mark Wahlberg after, getting sober, kind of
at
like
23, right?
So this is 25 by the time I really figured out the sobriety thing. Yeah. And then I kind of transitioned back into acting.
Yeah.
Luckily.
And like, I'm curious about that too, because like, I'm 7 years sober now.
Yeah.
You're 18?
19. Coming on 19 on Christmas Day. Oh, thanks, man.
Amazing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. It is applause worthy, like that's crazy, man. Like I think about like myself at 25. Yeah. No fucking way, man. Yeah. And I was deep in my drugging and drinking, man. Like I didn't have the awareness. I didn't have the self-awareness. Do you think the awareness came to you because it was like reflected back at you? Did something happen with your career that you were like, holy shit?
No, I was not doing film then. I had lost everything as far as like the trust of friends and family. My rock bottom was just having nobody left that trusted me anymore. That
they didn't trust you anymore.
They didn't trust me anymore. They didn't want to be around me. They didn't want to. I'd lost, my agency. My agency stuck with me, but not really. They weren't sending me out anymore. My family was sick and tired of me, and I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. As they say. I went to a family event on Christmas Eve, and I was there like that guy at Dodger Stadium with my family. And my little old grandma, who has never done anything to us,
Right.
slapped me
She
across.
gave you a
the-
slap.
She gave me a slap, and this is like that's the first and only time I got
Yeah,
whacked.
Grandma.
And the next day on Christmas Day, I woke up with the biggest hangover, realized what I had done, and that was 19 years ago.
Fuck, man.
And yeah,
Something about the holidays, right? Like my rock bottom was the holidays too. It was like, it's December 18th is my sobriety birthday. I was like watching my kids open their Christmas presents, passed out on like the cold hardwood floor because it felt good on my face. You know what I mean? Like sitting there, like, I was like, okay, you guys open your stuff. And I just like laid there just like half awake watching them open all their presents. And I was like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
But the holidays really like bring things into a nice laser focused point, you know, where you're
Yeah.
like, whoa, what are my priorities here, man? Also, a slap from grandma doesn't hurt.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. Good
Well,
for
it
good
seems
for
like
grandma.
that like from my non-sober person perspective, not having gone through that, it feels like that amount of time was it didn't seem that long from when you're like, oh, I hit the club scene to, oh, I got sober. And like where Tyler was like, oh, I did it for 15 years or whatever. So
longer,
and I
yeah.
feel like his story seems more typical to me, like
Right.
to have someone who really gets sober.
It went from the club scene to just hibernating in my apartment for a couple of years and doing everything by myself and on my own. And
Okay,
Yeah.
so you just like your descent was really fast and really deep.
Yeah.
It sounds like so. Yeah,
Yeah.
So you kind of compressed it all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something funny? We can cut this out if you don't like it.
All right.
First time I ever did cocaine was at your apartment in Vancouver and we're going to bleep his name out.
Right.
You weren't there,
Right.
but he was like, oh, we're having a party at Devon's. And I went over there thinking you were going to be there. And he was like, no, Devon lets me hang out in his apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 of us just like doing cocaine in your apartment.
Well, there you go.
It's a beautiful apartment.
I didn't know that. And
And I was like, cocaine's cool,
That's
man. I like
that's,
cocaine. And
Yaletown?
look at Devon. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
look at Devon's apartment. He's doing great, man. Cocaine's great.
Well, good. I'm glad you had fun.
I always wanted to tell you that, but I was like, I haven't seen
That
you
should
in
have been
so
your
long.
confession. That would have started a hell of a pause. I'd be like, oh my God, where am I?
So you're responsible for my cocaine. I'm not addicted to cocaine, but yeah, I feel like the level of self-awareness at 25, man, I'm impressed by that. I honestly didn't know you got sober that early.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was 19 years, but I hadn't done the math.
Yeah. It's like 25 or 26, somewhere in there.
and then so like after you got sober, and
Yeah.
I'm assuming you decided to step back into the scene.
Yeah, I got the script for Max Payne,
Right.
snail mail, and decided, hell, I'm gonna, just audition for this.
Okay, so it was like you did have to kind of like
Oh, it
gingerly
was a
step back in.
hard.
Yeah, I wanted to know.
every single freaking door. Some are still closed.
Right.
There is a couple of doors that are still closed for a couple of casting directors that just won't. I did them so dirty.
Shit.
Apparently.
Right. You're
You
like,
know,
come on, man.
Yeah.
I was talking to my manager on the way here who listened to the pod. He was like, I love it. I lead these men's groups, and I wanted to give you a couple like prompts. I was like, okay. And then he gave me a few that I really liked. And he was like, it led me to resentments, which is a big part of getting sober. We talked about resentments. Those casting directors obviously are holding on to some resentment for you. Do you have like a big, like, I try to think about this a lot, like, 'cause, they're free. I wrote down 180 resentments when I was doing the fourth and fifth, and like, do you have any resentments that you just still can't let go of? And are they industry related?
That are industry related?
Do you, I mean,
yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a couple people
They don't
that
have to be, just
that
anything.
maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
It's kind of hypocritical to like, But yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say their
No, you're
names.
talking about them? All right,
of course
all right.
not, yeah.
I'm never working with so and so again.
Yeah.
No, but like I was telling Reed about this, that like your part in a resentment is a very important thing to get acquainted with. And so for me, whenever I'm holding on to a resentment, like a big one or even a little one, and like one of my biggest ones was that my grandfather had some problems.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about them until he was passed away. So I grew up thinking he was this like wonderful, role model of a man. And I found out some stuff later that made me kind of go, oh my God. And I held on to it. I held on to this resentment because it felt justifiable to me. I was like, that's unforgivable. And then going through the fourth and fifth and doing a 10th over and over again, I had to like come to terms with my part in my resentment for my grandfather who had done these things that I was like, how the fuck? And that for me is the most tricky part of letting go of these resentments, like, the work I'm talking about where you have to like pinpoint.
Tyler, I love our Patreon community.
Me too.
It's so fun. We're having good conversations. We are getting in there, having behind the scenes footage, kind of showing different sides of us. In fact, we were talking with part of the staff here at Tiny Legends today, and they were saying it's a really good place to unleash your anxiety. So whenever we're feeling...
We're going to get creative on there.
Whenever we're feeling like nervous about the show, we can just tape a little selfie video and then we can post it on our Patreon.
If you have a lot of money and you want to support us, we would really appreciate it. You get that top tier button, but also you get a weekly shout out on the show. So it's a little bonus.
And, we are absolutely cobbling this thing together. So the support of our listeners and viewers is so important to keep the show going. Yeah. We want to continue having these conversations, continue having these guests come in. I think we have actually a good show. I'm really proud of it. And we're so appreciative of everyone listening. And so if you want to help support, join our community, be a part of it. It's patreon.com/ILYSM pod. ILYSM pod.
That's it.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Tyler, I feel like one of these days it could happen for me that I could have a hot babe at my apartment.
Yeah.
And maybe with some romance in the air. Yeah. And the first thing I would do?
Candle.
That's exactly
it.
Yeah, you candle. I would light one of these Night Blooms candles that we have here on set. Yeah. In fact, they're our signature I love you so much scent.
Ambiance is everything.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah. The warm glow cast from a candle. I mean, it's unbeatable.
And I'm going to be able to sit there and seem very virtuous as well, because I'll be able to say to the hot babe, look, these are handcrafted. These are non-toxic. These are safe for pets.
1% for the planet.
1% to the planet. Making out with me basically helps save the world. I mean, we
got to making out already. I love it. We're at first base.
When you light the candles, I mean, you're going to do it.
Optimism.
So look, you can go to nightbloomsgoods.com, use the code ILYSM, and you're going to get 20% off your entire
ILYSM 20.
ILYSM 20 at nightbloomsgoods.com. If you want the special collab candle, the I Love You So Much candle, which is a enticing blend of santal and yuzu blossom.
That's right.
You can check that out exclusively in our merch store, ILYSMpod.com.
So Reed, I'm going to turn the hot seat on you here. Do you have any resentments that you currently can't let go of?
As someone getting divorced, you probably, well, I'm projecting on you. Me, I think I do carry some resentments.
Yeah.
And I imagine on the other side of my marriage, there's probably some towards me. I don't know that for sure, but I'm assuming there is. I remember a few months ago in therapy, my therapist was asking me about some of that stuff. And I just said, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done talking about this. I don't want to broach this topic anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't put it's never, not that I'll never talk about it again, but I'm like, I'm sick of talking about this. I want to talk about other stuff in my life. I don't need to talk about what happened 8 years ago in my marriage. And, and I think that's a sign that I haven't really dealt with it, or that I am holding on to it. And, and I think so many of the things that I am probably resentful of, I did play a part in it, right? And this kind of getting at what you're saying is what is my, okay, if I resent her for doing this to me, did I do something to her that then caused her to do that to me? And then I resent that, and I feel like sometimes in marriage, and maybe the way I went about it, there was always you almost have to go back to the beginning, because you're like, oh, you did that? Well, because you did that. Well, because you did that, because you did that. And so, I would rather it be that I'm not culpable at all, of course, but that's not, unfortunately, the case.
Not ever the case.
No, it's not ever the case. So, and specifically, what are those resentments? I mean, I don't know.
I'm realizing it's almost impossible to talk about them on here, because you can't throw anybody under the bus.
Well, it is. I don't know, but can you resent yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I
had a lot of resentment.
Yeah.
For myself.
And I mean, I think I resent myself for my role in it all.
Yeah.
My role in the marriage not working.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't Reed, you did this one thing and that, fucked up your whole marriage and you had to get divorced. But I do think, you just look back, and it goes back to our confessionals. You just look back on all those things. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't that way.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I am so quick to forgive myself over that stuff.
Yeah. Well, accountability is where it all begins. The forgiveness is kind of, I think, on the other side of acknowledging your part in the resentment, I don't think you could even get to a place of forgiveness until you sort of absolve yourself and the other party, absolution isn't the right word, but
my father, I had a lot of issues with my father, and unfortunately he passed away.
I didn't know that.
Early in my sobriety, and I wish I could go back and confront him about a lot of things so that I could forgive him about that stuff and ask him questions why, and you know. And unfortunately, I can't. So
you never got a chance to like talk to him from the sober perspective.
My father was he's one of these men that didn't have a lot of words, didn't want to talk, didn't want to discuss feelings. Nobody should. That's weak. Yada yada yada. So I tried, and this is like year 1 or 2 of my sobriety. We went on a trip. He had been diagnosed with cancer. We went on a trip. We started in Louisiana. We ended up in the Florida Keys, and that was when I was supposed to I just had some questions about certain things, as a child, whatever, and we never got to that. It was so like it was too much of like I'm with dad and dad, and that was our trip, and other than eating food and whatever.
Well, it's funny that dynamic, like I know that dynamic well of like I have things that I need to talk to you about. But the dynamic between me and my dad is so set, you know what I mean? And to break through that is so uncomfortable. Yeah. And you're on a trip. Yeah. You went on that trip to do this thing, but then you're faced with it. Of course, he doesn't know. I
did, and he didn't, And this is a man that I don't ever remember hugging. I don't remember hugging this man.
Did you try to broach it with him and it was rejected, or did you just
I think that I didn't even approach it because we had gotten into a argument, something about driving. He didn't want me to drive, and and it started going that way, and it was like, fuck, I'm not going to, if that's already the issue, I'm not going into,
Oh, man.
And then unfortunately he passed away, and there was a lot of things that I really, a lot of resentments that never got dealt with, and I want to forgive him, but I want to,
Do you still hold on to them, or have you done? Yeah.
I do. And
That's hard.
It's he did a lot of shit that was unacceptable. Yeah. But I want to forgive him. Yeah. But I don't just want to forgive him. I want to know,
Right. You want.
I want some answers, or I want him to at least acknowledge some of those things.
It's a sad, but it's a really typical story. I think it feels very personal. I'm not saying it's not unique to you. The relationship with dads, especially from our generation, and like I love my dad. My dad's still alive, but we have a really complicated relationship, and I always want to acknowledge that I love my dad. I love the work that he's done as a human being. I have a lot of questions about things, and I've learned. And my dad almost died last year, bone cancer. We talked about it before, and I specifically took him to a beach in Bobcaygeon, which is in Ontario. And I was like, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to see if that works. And I needed to. I had some things, like I put him on blast on in People magazine about some body shaming stuff. And I put some things on Front Street that I shouldn't have, Yeah. And I knew it hurt him a lot, but I never even considered apologizing to my dad for talking about the shit that I felt that he did that damaged me. But it was in a public forum, and I probably, I shouldn't have done it. And so I took him to the beach, and I apologized. And it was again, it was the magic of accepting my part in a thing. I'm not perfect. My dad wasn't perfect, but so we got to this place where I apologized for what I thought were my wrongdoings, and he just started to cry, and his partner started to cry, and we're sitting on this beach. I don't know if I'm going to lose my dad, and I for whatever reason I was able to let go of a lot of that shit just by saying that I was sorry. It was really powerful. I realized in that moment, fuck, I'm holding on to this stuff way tighter than he ever will. And also in that moment, I realized I'll never get the thing from him and even if I did, I don't think it would be what I had hoped it would be, you know?
Oh, I know that it wouldn't.
Right.
If I did get him, and if I did finally bring it up and we started, it wouldn't be, it would be in 5 words.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I was a little too this.
It's the I'm sorry, but or
but
maybe
you did that.
Yeah. I mean, I have it too. My dad's still alive, and I don't think I have a big issue that I really need to put to bed. But sometimes I do wish maybe that we could have more deeper conversations. Yeah. But also, as people here have noticed, I inherited from him, and my brother did too, a very kind of emotional side where we cry easily. So it's I think if I try to have a conversation with my dad, it's really hard because he starts crying immediately, then I'm crying, and then so it's hard to get the actual words out. I could say, not that I would say this, but Dad, are you proud of me? And then he would just start to cry, and then I'm like, okay, he's not going to say it.
Right.
Yeah. But
it's coming out of his eyeballs.
Clearly is. Yeah, exactly. So I think a long time ago, I decided that I would just have the relationship that I could with my parents.
Yeah.
That like it's not going to be maybe exactly how, if I could just, you know, write down exactly all the stuff I want, it's not going to be that.
I get it. Like I think we all typically struggle with our parents in one way or another. You know, they take care of you for so long, and then eventually it feels like the emotional onus shifts to you. You know, like you have to take care of your parents in a certain way, and it's uncomfortable, and it also builds resentments. You know, and creates resentments. But the acceptance of who they are and where they are now. Like if your dad was still here, I think that would probably be the only thing that you could get to eventually. I'm not saying it's because no one can change when they get older, but like it's exactly that. It's the elusive nature of what you're looking for. We don't even really know what we're looking for emotionally or spiritually. And then if you even got it, you wouldn't know what to do with it. So there's this like acceptance of like, you just are who you are. Yeah. I hope my kids can accept me and the things that happen when, you know, as I raise them. But like, it's really, it's like a real hard sort of life lesson and not an experiment, but like it's an ongoing journey, just accepting your parents and that you maybe won't ever get the thing that you had hoped you would get.
Yeah. And I think for me, it boils down to the most important thing is I know he loves me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that,
So what else is there ultimately? Right. You know, and I can quibble about, oh, you know, why did you treat me like this at this moment or this or that? But it's like, I know he was pure hearted with me always. And like, what more can you ask for? So it's like, if I can't be as close to him in a certain way, well, I know he still loves me. I love him. So I feel close to him in that way.
The only thing is now I spend a lot of time trying to unlearn his ways of raising me.
Woo, yeah.
I am constantly like my son is 11 and I won't stop hugging him. Like I've got to keep that going because I never got that. And I don't want him to be where I am, where it's like, oh man, my dad never hugged me.
Yeah.
And so, but there's so much of that. There's like sports. There's no yelling at. I mean, that's why I got into theaters because he didn't know anything about theater, and I was left alone. And I just like, oh my God, this is a safe place.
Right. Yeah.
I can be here, and you know, he comes to my performance every once in a while.
Yeah.
But there's no like sideline, you know, head shakes or, you know. But yeah, that's now why I raising my kids. It's like and especially my son, I'm trying to be the opposite in so many different areas.
Do you feel like, because again, inventory for my dad was important for me. Like there were lots of ways that my dad did love me, you know. And did you feel like that with your dad? Like, were there ways?
Well, that's what I'm doing in his, you know, when he passed away, I'm like, you know, his dad was bad to him, so I'm making a lot of excuses for his behavior just because I want to forgive him for even though we didn't get to deal with it. You know? But
are there parts of the way he fathered you that you do emulate, that you admired about him?
There's a lot of, I mean, his work ethic, his you know, the way he, you know, treated my mother, and there's some stuff that definitely I like to remember.
Yeah. It's a wild pendulum swing, right? Like that idea of like, here's the things that I love about how I was raised, and then here's the shit I'm never going to do, which ultimately when you get to that end of the pendulum, your kids are going to be fucked up by that. They're going to be like, my dad hugged me too much.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like,
that's what
my dad was always hugging me, man.
Why did you yell at me more at sports?
Yeah. Why didn't you push me harder to play hockey or whatever? And it's like,
you know what the other weird thing is my father was a huge pot smoker.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's what I said. Everybody
pot smoker, which nowadays isn't such a bad thing.
No.
Right now, if like your dad's a pot smoker, it's whatever.
It's for glaucoma.
Back then, it was I was the only kid that had a dad who was a huge, and everybody smelled, everybody knew. All the kids would tease me about dad having the good shit and like, you know, go pinch off your dad.
Oh, fuck, that's hilarious.
And he was two different people, which was just hard to like figure out as a young kid, 12, 11, you know.
Well, two different people how? Like,
well, when he was stoned, he was fine.
Right.
You know? He was okay.
He was chill, man.
He was on the couch. He was at the Chesterfield watching the hockey game.
Yeah, that is interesting, man. It's like people don't talk a lot about like the kids of alcoholics, but like not the kids of potheads.
Dad came with those beet red eyes.
You were like,
he's not doing shit. He ain't chasing me around today.
Yeah. So you were stoked when you saw Dad like stoned.
But it was still kind of hard to like figure out why all the other kids didn't, you know.
Their dads weren't like that.
My dad was the hippie.
Oh.
They also had me very young, and all the other kids in the neighborhood were a little bit.
So your dad was a hippie?
It was a hippie. I don't know. He like hippie, more Zeppelin.
Oh yeah.
You know, he had you know, long hair for a while.
Yeah.
He was that
Yeah,
guy.
it's funny, man. My dad, it was like a hippie, but he was also like a greaser. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
My dad had switchblade in his side drawer.
Yeah. So my dad was like, don't fuck with me.
When he passed away, I was like, Mom, can you give me the switchblade?
Right? Yeah. I'd like that. Can
I'd
you
like
pass
to keep
down me?
that.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad had this like weird dichotomy of like hippiness and like tough guy, like macho-ness.
Greaser.
So yeah,
sure.
so he was like
For
a
sure.
greaser. He talks about the hanging out with the neighborhood toughs.
Yeah.
So I was like, I hung out with the
Oh.
toughs, and then he became like this like flower power hippie child.
Yeah.
But he would still like, he was like a fucking weightlifter, and he was like a collegiate football star.
Wow.
And like, this is the dad I grew up with, where he was like, bend all the rules until they're just about to break. You know, like you just bend every rule as far as it'll go. Do anything until someone tells you not to. Like that, he'd be like, enter a room, do whatever you can until someone tells you not to. And he had this like real tough guy, fuck the system approach, but he was also this really like sweet hippie,
Yeah.
like pot smoking. Like he encouraged us to party at home, like that kind of dad. So that was a little confusing too, where I didn't know whether he wanted me to be hard or if he wanted me to be like really soft and like easy. Also, weird thing about my dad, this is a really crazy thing. I've played in bands since I was like 15, 16. I'm a drummer. I love music. Music is my life. My mom was like constantly exposing us to music. Not the best music, but some of it was good. It's a lot of Barbra Streisand and John Denver. Good music, just not.
Yeah.
I would get CDs from my father every birthday. I'd get like Credence.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah,
the
so you got
Kinks
good
and
shit.
like
See,
yeah,
that's
it was
good.
good music.
My dad didn't really care for music,
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
which for me is like,
Right.
what?
That's-
What do you mean?
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
just kind of like, yeah. He'd be like, what's your favorite band? I don't, whatever, name one.
Yeah.
Be like, Zeppelin. Yeah, sure, that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like he didn't,
Whatever's
if
on
the radio
it's-
was
yeah.
on, he'd be like, yeah, sure. If it was off, it didn't matter to him. And music for me is just like
Yeah, it's everything.
everything.
Yeah.
It's my life has a soundtrack. My mom, my brothers were all super into music. My dad just kind of was like, he doesn't hate music. He just is like,
Yeah,
whatever,
that's-
man. Music's a thing.
So is the approval the big part?
I don't know if approval's funny. Like I don't think I thought that.
Yeah, me neither. I moved into acting and I to get away from looking for approval.
Yeah, my dad wanted me to do things that I didn't really
Yeah.
care about. He was very focused on education and math, and and I was just like, I'm a fucking artist, man. Like I don't want to do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I think deep down there is always a need for acceptance from your father. It might not be approval, but this wholehearted acceptance, maybe. And I think I said this in one of our earlier podcasts. Like recently, post near death, my dad has been saying things to me that I didn't know that he felt. Like he's proud of the career choices I made.
Yeah.
He was always, even up until like
that would be huge if he was still around today.
Yeah.
Like, and he said, you did good. Like that
Yeah.
would be. That'd be
It's
huge.
big.
You guys are gonna get me crying on this show.
That's okay,
That's-
man.
that's our
No, like,
point.
but that's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that I ever set out for my dad's approval,
right.
But I think genetically we're just coded to like. I want my
Yeah.
dad to think I did good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's making me
But
emotional
do
too.
you think he would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was starting to change in his later years. He was starting to be. He would have been a great grandfather.
Yeah.
I think if we would have figured it out, either figured it out or not talked about it at all anymore.
Right.
And it just sort of
he
rode
would
into
have he would have moved into a grandfather.
Yeah.
Like my grandfather, like the grandfather that his father
Yeah.
was apparently just a monster to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was a phenomenal grandfather.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
He
yeah.
was, he was great. We slept over at his house, and he would have pies, and like he was.
You would never know.
Let me watch wrestling. Like
Yeah. I didn't know anything about my grandfather except
Yeah.
for he was like my hero.
Yeah.
Like he would take me walking on these tracks. I still have one of his. I have this like, it's so Canadian. It's this like curling sweater.
Oh,
and
awesome.
It's like bright orange and yellow and it was his, and I still have it. I still wear it. But it's like he was a great grandfather, but he was a pretty horrific dad. That idea of a bad dad being a good grandfather, like my dad's a rad grandfather too. He just sort of like. He's like, he gets on the floor with my kid. He can barely even walk, and he's like, he'll like pick them up and throw them around and play with them, and they just love him. He does all the same bits.
I wonder if they feel like they're redeeming themselves. If this is their way to go out as a great person.
Maybe, but I also think there's less pressure in a way. I don't know, as a dad, right, you feel this pressure. Oh, I got to raise this kid. I got to raise this
true.
kid. And then now they're, late in life and they're just like, they kind of want to party, I think. They're just like, what else do I have to do? And it's like, no, that's their job.
Well, and it's part-time,
I'll have the
right?
fun. And
And show up a couple hours, get some
exactly.
cookies, and then off you go.
I think there's the kind of just the thought of what are grandparents, and grandparents are fun, right? And it's like, we let them do this, we let them do that. And then the kids just love them. I don't know. The kids are just so, at a certain point, they're super into old people.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if that's like and maybe it's it takes a village kind of thing. And that's like in your genetics is like, you want to have like grandparent figures around.
Because you can hustle them.
Yeah.
A little bit, man.
Grandparents get hustled.
Yeah.
I also learned how to swear from my grandma.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, we did not get along, but my grandma was the first one I heard. She said, "Oh, that's horse shit." And I was like, "Horse shit?
Wow.
Wow."
I would go over to my
good swear.
grandparents' house and I'd stay up as late as I want, watching whatever I want. And the next day we'd go down, we'd get on the Hastings Express and go to the Eaton Center and pick out a toy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have much of a relationship with my grandparents. My grandfather died when I was 9, and my grandmother was just not very kind. And my mom's parents were just very traditionally sort of like, kids go in the other room. We don't really want to hear from you. They were like definitely like old British, like kids should be seen and not heard. And they weren't like unloving, but they just, they were really cold, man. They just didn't they didn't give us much. So I would actually go and like hang out with my friends' grandparents a lot, and they couldn't figure it out. I'd be like, "Hey, are you going to go to your grandma's after school today?" And they'd be like, "No, I'm not going today." I'd be like, "Do you mind if I do?"
That's amazing.
And then I'd go and sit with other people's grandparents, and they give you like cookies and shit. It's like 16, 17 years old. And I always loved what you can glean from people who've lived that much life. Even my ex, her grandfather, Colin, who we named our youngest child, his middle name is named after Colin. I would just find myself sitting in a corner with him, just like an 85-year-old dude, just like laughing, just like having the best. He just had such a crazy outlook on life at that age. And he was on like dialysis, and, he didn't have much left to live, but he just like, I just love that. I really love old people.
Yeah.
But I didn't love my old people.
Yeah. My grandfather, I knew quite a bit growing up, and he lived to 95. So he didn't pass away that long ago, but he was married 11 times.
I'm sorry, what?
Wow.
He was married 11 times.
How do you even have the time?
You don't, and I tell you, that is also not counting the ones he didn't marry. There was at least 25 or 30 serious where, and I mean, some of those marriages lasted 3 months. I mean, he married the same person a couple times.
What a strange mashup of like monogamy and philandering.
Yeah, totally.
That's so fucking weird, man.
I 100%. But I
actually some overlapping there.
Yeah, for sure, man. There's no way those were
I forgot clean. I was still married to you.
I truly believe though that he, in his heart, meant it, because even when he was like 88. He would like, he did online dating, and then he said, "Oh, you can't put that you're 88. You got to put that you're 79. No women will write back if you put your 88 on."
You're like, okay, great,
grandpa,
good tip.
And then he finally meets a woman, and he's like, bringing her home and like to meet the family. And he's like, "Reed, oh, this is Doreen. I really think this is the one."
Right.
Every single time he was just like so in love and so deep into it. And it would like, he went into it, I think, with really pure intentions. I don't know if I'd say that, but then, as soon as the honeymoon period was over, he'd be like, "Well, we were playing slots and you looked over at that other guy over there for."
Oh, he was a jealous guy.
4 seconds. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so then that would rear and
that's
then,
it.
Yeah. It would just like,
Sounds like a love bomber.
Yeah, I was gonna say love bomber,
for sure.
not able to recognize patterns, but so like wanted a thing, but was never able to reflect on the fact that, hey, you're not going to get that thing unless you learn to like recognize.
Well, he just go into it the same time every time. Well, not having learned anything from the other 20 relationships he's had.
I have a friend, Sean Cassidy, who's a big pop star back in the 70s to do Run and like he's like kind of my unofficial mentor. We've worked together on a bunch of things and I just love him. He's been married 4 times, I believe. He's got so many kids, and he's just like, get married as many times as you feel like. But he's like, get married as many times as you need to, like until you find the one. No, and then he did, and he's been with his current wife the longest. But like he's the same way. He's like, get married as many times as you need to, man. Like you don't always. Every marriage isn't a failure,
right?
It like every divorce isn't a failure. It brings you closer to maybe the right one. So maybe your grandpa was just like,
my one married grandmother who was with my grandfather, called my other grandma a floozy because she had been married twice.
Ooh.
And apparently my grandma saw her at a dance and she was trying to dance with all the men. And so she was a floozy,
Yeah.
which was,
She's a painted Jezebel.
Yeah.
Yeah, a trollop. She sounds cool though.
they were both cool.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a floozy, man?
man?
Yeah, of course, man. My manager brought this up today. I thought it was a really cool question. He just said, if we were celebrating, having a dinner to celebrate something 1 year from now, what would we be celebrating?
In 1 year from now would be my 20 years of sobriety.
There
Hey,
you go.
That's it's a big date for me.
20 years is no joke, man.
I always wanted to make it to 20.
Yeah.
And then it'll be 40.
Right.
But I understand that, like, I understand I'm not supposed to think like that.
No. But you do at a certain point.
20 is always that's a big.
Do you think there's a letdown at that point, though? I
No.
mean, do you feel? But you
There's
feel
a whole new milestone after that.
You'll be emboldened.
When I was having troubles understanding sobriety, when I was in and out of sobriety for a while until I finally got it.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins, I picked up a CD at the Westwood meeting back when the day when that was the meeting to go to, and I'd picked up and he had 40 years, and I always thought, Jesus, like, there's another actor, somebody in my profession, in 40 years, I'd like to start getting some time like that.
Yeah.
So 20 will hit, and hopefully I'll move to 40.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I know. I'm looking to 10. Like, I can't wait for 10.
Yeah.
Man.
10 was a big one.
10 is a big one. 10 is huge. It really, that feels like, I know you're not supposed to think about the time
You're
like
supposed
that,
to be day
right?
at a time.
Day at a time, but like,
Right.
it's a lot of days, man. And I'm looking at 10, like,
It starts to become bragging rights a little bit.
Yeah.
5 was huge. When I was 5 years sober, man, it was like, wow.
yeah. Oh, me too. And everybody
we
does
did
it.
it.
Everybody
Right.
fucking does it.
Yeah.
Everyone brags about
Yeah,
their
but
time. Inadvertently, everyone
and
brags
doesn't
about
it
their
like
time.
I would think like when you hit 5, you're like, then you're like, oh, I can really do this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever think that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd hit 1 a few times, and I'd hit 1 month a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're the first guy who ever, because we stayed connected like randomly through like Instagram and stuff. And like you were the first guy when I think I'd been sober for about a year, and you saw something on Instagram about it, whatever. And you put together that I was sober. Maybe I said something in a live or whatever. And you were like, watch out for that pink cloud, buddy.
Yeah.
It was like the first time I heard that pink cloud expression. And I think I asked you what was the pink cloud. And then I started asking around.
Depending on where you are in your drinking and using whatever, your brain alters. And so in the first year of your sobriety, your brain is recovering, and you're going through a whole roller coaster of shit. And the pink cloud is essentially you thinking that you've figured it all out. You're up there and you got this, and it's very dangerous.
It's
like,
euphoric,
because you
man.
start thinking about, well, maybe I was just having trouble with the hard alcohol, and I could,
Right, I could
have
have
a
a
couple
beer.
glasses of
Yeah.
wine with
Yeah.
my friends.
Or you just feel like,
it could start that way for a couple of months, but it usually starts with the pink cloud, and it goes to that, maybe I just smoke weed,
yeah.
and then that weed turns into like a beer at a ball
gateway.
game, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and eventually a week later you're
It's a euphoric feeling, that pink cloud.
Yeah.
It makes you feel kind of invincible.
Yeah.
For me, the pink cloud, I think at that time, which was probably something you picked up on that I didn't even recognize, was like, I was never an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Not that I was like, oh shit, I'm like, I've got it beat, or I can just drink like brown liquor or whatever. I was just like, did I ever have a problem?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like maybe I didn't really have a problem. Maybe I kind of created this whole thing, and that lasted for a while. That was like
That's
a year of my
dangerous
sobriety.
thinking.
But I stuck with it, because I was like, that sounds ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
But and you always have like friends that are like, yeah, I don't think you have a problem. Like I never thought you had a problem.
I had to get rid of a very good friend because it was constant. It was, come on, it's been this many years, have some wine.
Right.
And they would get drunk, and they'd poke you, come on, have one shot with me, you're fine. It's like that wasn't, you don't
There's
do
always
drugs
somebody,
and,
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just it got to the point
What
where I
are
was like, I just can't do
What's
it.
the matter with those people, man?
Well,
It's usually when they're drinking.
yeah,
It's usually, so
my dad actually did that to me, which was really, again, I love you, Dad, but I talk about my dad a lot. But
Well, you
like,
gotta have your dad not
I was
listen to
like
the show,
2
I
years sober, and we went to a Jays game in Toronto, and he was like, you can drink beer, right? And I was like, I can, but I'm not going to. And he's like, well, you can just have a beer, right? Have a beer. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna have a beer. And he's like, well, I'm drinking.
yeah.
Can't, and it was like this, he was like teasing me kind of, but it felt like a guy I was in a frat with at some point or whatever. And I was looking at my dad kind of like, that's not a very dad thing to say to me. Like, where does that weird, like pokey, you know, I could, it's like what you said, where does that, what's happening there? What is that doing for you in this moment that's making you feel better about whatever's going on for you?
Yeah.
And I really had to let that one go. And then that happened subsequent years, you know, he would kind of either forget and he'd be like, you want a beer? Or you know, and I would just be like, no, I'm sober. And now he's like really congratulatory for me, you know, but like, it's a weird thing when like that happens with some friends, but I can't just oust my dad, like, you know, poking at me. It's like, fuck. Yeah. I mean, you can.
You can if it gets, if it gets dangerously.
Yeah, but that feels like generational, right? Where
I think he was just like, beer's not a problem, right?
And then, you know, but you would think someone who's your peer gets it, right?
I try not to go to rap parties.
Oh, dude, I know.
Because rap parties is where you're dealing with a couple hundred people, and there's always going to be a few that are like, come on, just have a shot.
Yeah,
it's like,
you've been 19 years sober, or they don't even give a shit about that.
Or inevitably you see these people that you've fallen in love with over the last couple of months and get stupid. And you don't want to remember them that way. You don't want to remember them falling down or
that happens more
hooking
often
up
than the other thing. Or the some crushes come out.
Yeah.
You know, and people get really drunk and they start saying things. You're like, don't go to that place right now. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
I should go to some rap parties.
Rap parties can get wild.
I'm going to I'm going to my best friend's bachelor party tomorrow. He's not a huge drinker, but he is a drinker, and all of our friends that are going to be there are drinkers, and it's a bachelor party. Like and you know, I can do anything sober. I know I can. I've done it all. Yeah. My analogy for this kind of thing is like, it's like when you go into a sauna and you're like waiting for the good sweat to break.
Right.
But before that, it's like, holy fuck, I gotta get out of this fucking sauna, man. Like I can't handle this again. And then the sweat breaks and you're just like, oh my God. All right, I'm fine. Yeah. That's what this is going to feel like for me. That bachelor party is going to feel very much like, not that I want to drink, but I'm going to be like uncomfortable until the itchiness kind of gets to a place where I almost can't handle it, and then it'll just kind of smooth out. So but I'm heading into that willingly, you know?
Do you feel confident?
Yeah, I don't. That's a hard one to explain, isn't it?
Well, like, I've gotten to a point, I'm sure you might be there too, but I don't feel nervous or anxious in places that drinking is supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
Like if you go to a bar with some friends or you're at a party and there's drinking, I just don't drink. It's kind of like,
me too.
You know,
it's not even a thing at this point.
But if like, for instance, when people show up on set smelling like alcohol or they're smoking weed and that's when I start like, oh my God, that's you know.
It makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
And the thing that happens is like, everything's cool. I like it when people drink around me. Yeah. It's when all of a sudden you're in a different fucking plane than everyone around you. I'm on a totally different page than my best friend who I'm there celebrating. Yeah. Even if he's 3 drinks in and I'm just like on my 3rd ginger ale.
Yeah.
You just there's the look in the eyes, you know. You start losing the connection with somebody, and then they feel it's you. They drift away and they start partying with everyone else, and then you're just the guy at the sober guy at the bachelor party, and you want to leave at like 10. You know, but everyone's like, no, we're going to the strippers or whatever, which Vancouver is famous for.
Right.
I mean, you know, maybe it'll be fun to go look at some boobs sober.
I had like an industry kind of party for it was like Chucky was on, and I was having all my Chucky cast.
By the way, do you know Fiona Dourif?
I love Fiona.
Yeah, she was our first guest.
Amazing.
I love Fiona. She's one of my best friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this Chucky industry thing, and I invited a few of my friends, and one friend came just coked out of his tree.
Yeah, coke is a weird one.
That's talk about everybody's sober here to watch the first episode of fucking Chucky.
Yeah, like
and
why
you're
did
just
you do
talking
that?
about saving whales and like let's start a it's just
let's start a podcast.
And just to fucking me too. And I know he's like disappears bathroom with this girl, comes out again and just
it's like
I hope he fucking watches this.
Yeah. It's a superpower for me now, knowing I can like well, you know, I know when someone's lying. I mean, I always felt like I did a little bit because I'm a fucking excellent liar.
Yeah.
Spent so much time orchestrating, ways to drink and lie. I can always tell when someone's on something. I can tell if someone has like a bad drinking pattern. Like you just pick up on these things about people. Even if they're like, it's not even like you smell or what. I can just pick up on like, you know what I mean? It's been such a tingly spidey sense for me where I'm like, I can just tell that you.
I take a while, like I'm like you, and then I spend like a little bit going.
You suss it out.
You.
I usually have the instinct, and I suppress it, and then I usually end up being right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to keep that going.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we were celebrating, having a celebratory dinner a year
1 year from now,
what would we be celebrating for you?
1 million downloads.
1 million downloads.
Hey.
Is that a good year
Yeah.
figure, Stella?
Is that low?
I mean, 10 million
That's,
downloads.
honestly, it's pretty high.
It's pretty
But
high. Okay.
I like the confidence.
Yeah,
Let's say
500.
it.
I don't. Wait, it's a round number.
Million downloads. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. I think, okay, I can get down with that.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Is anyone going to ask me?
Yeah, I just
1 year from
Tyler.
now.
Ask me, guys. I don't even have an answer. What would I be? I'd be celebrating. I'd be celebrating the return of this industry that it feels like it's kind of lost itself, and as a result, I've kind of lost my.
It's figuring itself out.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, it's lost its way. I don't want to say it's gone, but like the industry that we're in right now looks almost 100% different from the one that I knew 5 years ago. Even, I'm like looking at it now, like, where do I get in, or how do I get off? Like how do I get out of here, or how do I double down and get back in? And it just feels confusing and weird, and I'm constantly frustrated, and I don't like it. So I hope that in 1 year from now, either I'm celebrating that
You will.
it's come back to what I recognize, or I've figured out where I fit. That'd be a nice.
I think as actors, we're I mean, I constantly
Yeah.
am in that.
I heard Phil Hoffman in a posthumous interview saying, like, someone quoted a director, a friend of his, I think it was Linklater, saying like, yeah, Phil always creates a crisis that his career is over, and that's where he like finds his.
I'm
thing.
there
Yeah.
once a year.
Yeah, and Phil Hoffman kind of goes, oh God, he talks too much, and he's like, but I think that's every actor feels like their career is always over.
It'll be like it'll be like the Christmas holidays. I'll be like, why am I not working?
Yeah. It's a shitty feeling, but it's also part of the package of what we do. But the industry right now feels so much more dire than it ever has.
Yeah,
anyway,
it
I don't
does.
want to talk too much about the industry, but yeah, that's where I would like to be celebrating a return of.
Well, and I hope a year from now we can also have gratitude for
Oh,
wherever
Reed's
we
wrapping it
are.
up.
And I think we have gratitude today for Devon coming in and spending some time with us.
It was a great.
Yeah, we actually have a.
I want to say, the
Okay,
big
are
letters there. I do want to say, Stella sent a Instagram meme quote
Okay.
thing to me today, where it's a guy, because we talk a lot about what is masculinity on the show. Like, we didn't talk a lot about it on this episode, but the idea of toxic masculinity, like what's the opposite of that? And we don't really know the answer. Divine masculinity, positive masculinity. But this interview, this guy posited that masculinity in its entirety is about being able to love. Yeah. Like you like really fully being able to love. And I was sort of blown away by that. I was like, right, like unapologetically, unabashedly loving. It's not the same as being loved. Like that's something, but loving. And I felt like recently I had this, like, you would think my heart had been unlocked by children and like a great partner, but there was just this thing last year where I was like, oh, I think loving might be like my actual greatest skill, like loving people. And I thought that was such an interesting way to tie into masculinity, the idea of masculinity being love. And I just wanted to put it to the table here. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know that I ever would have framed it like that, but I think a lot about how we exist as men, of having empathy. I mean, to me, that is right. And empathy in a way is a form of love, I think. Right. Yeah. And I don't know. And obviously I think it's important for women to have empathy and for women to, to love. But if I'm looking at myself and if I can think about the qualities of myself that I admire the most, and I think it is my empathy.
Yeah.
And I'm working on, I'm not quite all the way there. I don't always show enough empathy.
You can't always empathize, yeah.
I think I'm better than I used to be, and it's something I aspire to, and it's something that I really try to instill and in my daughter, or not instill, but talk about the importance of it and model for her as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Devon, what do you think?
No, I'm with you on the empathy thing. I think that I don't know, masculinity is I don't know. I try not to think about it too much. I try to just be who I am and then not try to be masculine.
Yeah.
Not try to put on this thing that
not wear masculinity.
Yes, not wear it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we kind of bumped up against it with our dads, maybe, is this idea of masculinity and what that means when it comes to expressing love.
Yeah.
Like the confusing message of like, be hard, but be soft. My dad was loving, but
don't show feelings.
Like, don't show feelings. But it's like, your dad didn't want to hug you and stuff. I'm sure he loved you, but he learned somewhere along the way that wasn't a masculine way to show you love. So I think it's funny that we can talk about our dads that way, but then when it comes to us, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I think it really is. And empathy, accountability, I think that all is loving, you know?
Yeah.
It comes from a loving place when you feel like you are being empathetic or you're being accountable. And I think that's our responsibility moving forward, I think, is this like full, you know, love as an entire sort of idea. That's my take on it. I think that's where it bumped with our dads, and that's where I don't want to bump with my kids.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like I remember, you know, one of my earliest childhood memories is like watching E.T. and when he's going home and crying,
right,
and just being fucking teased by my father, like,
suck it up, man.
Yeah. And now I'm the polar opposite, where I'm like, dude, we're gonna watch a sad movie. You gotta cry,
let's
man.
rip. Let's let it rip.
This is a movie we're gonna cry. It's gonna feel good.
Yeah, I always tell my kids, like, if a piece of art or an expression, it moves you to cry, you owe it to that artist and that expression to cry. Like, let it rip, man. What's the point in holding your? You just get cancer.
Devon, do you cry a lot?
Do I cry? Like, yeah, I don't hold back in certain stuff. I cry sometimes. Sure.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I try, but there is always a little, you know, there's always still a little self-awareness where I'm like, oh, don't look like, but then I have to remind myself, like, no, your whole thing is like, just let it rip, you know, go for it. But there's
especially if it's art.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a movie that can make me, that's powerful
for sure.
shit right there.
Music,
Let it
man.
go.
When I get goosebumps and tears well
sure.
up from a song or a note, that will have me just Niagara Falls. I'll just let it totally all hang out. But there is still a little self-awareness when it comes to like crying at movies or like, and I hate it. I want to just let it go, but I'm still a little bit like
I'm full out there.
Yeah.
I'll just
You should just try crying on podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Well, the main difference might be that I'm like, I am a wailer. Like, I'm like, oh, like I don't, you know, it's either that or like kind of holding it back. Otherwise it's ugly.
Oh, all right.
But maybe it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, Devon, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
we have a gift for you.
We do have a gift for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
this has been special. This has been a great hour
wonderful.
and a half. It's been a good talk.
Well, we're gonna up the special quotient right now. We have
This
a
candle made of
collaboration.
tears.
Yeah. This is an onion scented candle. No, we have a candle collaboration with Night Blooms.
Awesome.
Up in Ojai, and this is our signature scent. It's the I Love You So Much candle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's yuzu and
Santal.
Santal.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yuzu blossom and
We have the
santal.
box here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be able to
Guess I want to take it back.
Yeah. You might hate it. You might hate it. Could
No,
cause
it's beautiful.
rashes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then, of course, thank you, Tiny Legends, for producing today.
Always,
And, thank you. And we really appreciate all the support of our listeners. We have been overwhelmed still by all this. And we really appreciate all of you who are spending some time with us. And Tyler, thank you, man.
I love you so
Thanks
much.
for letting
We
me
love
be
you
your
so much,
seventh
everybody.
guest.
Yeah, something like that.
you.
Yeah.
But number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the hearts, no, 3.
Thank you. Thank you. 3? I got 3.
You got top 3.
I'll take it.
That's not bad.
All right.